Hi, the purpose of this short video is to give you a quick introduction to Turnitin as it will be implemented at AAPOLY BTHM this semester. We will talk about what Turnitin is and how to access it. We will explain its value and how it will improve your work and show you how to use it successfully. So firstly, what is Turnitin? Turnitin is the most commonly used originality checking and plagiarism prevention service used by millions of students, educators and institutions worldwide. Turnitin encourages best practices for using and citing other people's written material. That process is called referencing. How it works is that Turnitin compares the text in every assignment that's submitted to a vast database of over 12 billion pages of digital content, as well as 110 million papers in the student paper archive, and this is growing all the time, and 80,000 plus professional, academic and commercial journals and publications. When it finds any piece of work that is the same as something that has been submitted as an assignment, it then brings that back and shows the source. So Turnitin checks for originality. If you have copied text from elsewhere and pasted it into your assignment, Turnitin will find that copied text. It doesn't detect or determine plagiarism. It's only a tool for detecting matching text and similarity. The decision on whether plagiarism has occurred is a separate judgment that an instructor makes. If you include contents from the course descriptions, such as questions or assessment guidelines, these will also show up in a similarity report in Turnitin. But of course, this is not plagiarism and would be excluded in considering whether there was any plagiarism in your work. Why is a tool like Turnitin useful for you as a student? Well, the reason is because academic writing builds on the ideas of other people. It's important for you to use information supplied by others, but at the same time you should recognize the sources of these ideas and not pretend that other people's work is yours. And Turnitin allows you to see where you have sourced information from, and it also allows your instructor to do this as well. In my experience, most students actually want to do a good job with their work, and often plagiarism is not intentional, but it's easy to forget where information has come from when it's been cut and pasted from a number of different sources. So Turnitin makes this clear both for yourself and for the instructor. Turnitin also identifies areas where you can improve and produce better work by showing how you have put together the content that you have produced. It's not going to provide advice on how to rewrite your work. What it's going to do though is it's going to show how you've consolidated the information that you have used. And that should help you to develop your skills and be more confident in the work that you produce. So the process that we'll implement at BTHM this semester is that all classes and assignments will be set up in Turnitin by your lecturer. The student will register with Turnitin via an email sent out by your lecturer, or if you used Turnitin last semester, you can use the previous login details to access Turnitin, and in that case you'll be able to see the subjects that you were in last semester as well as the new ones. You can enroll in a subject yourself if your lecturer has supplied you with the course ID and password. Then you can submit papers to Turnitin via the file upload process to the draft Dropbox in Turnitin. When you do that, you can see your similarity report and make changes to your assignment if needed before resubmitting the assignment in the final Dropbox. I'll show you these things in a moment. And you'll be able to see your marked assignment in the Dropbox after the paper is marked and access is enabled to the assignment by your lecturer. So firstly, to begin, if you want to start to access Turnitin, you will need a personal student account and access to a class. To access a class, you will also need a class ID, or you need to be allocated to that class. So most students will receive an email inviting them to join Turnitin and to set up their own password. However, if you have an account, that is, you've used Turnitin for AAPOLY BTHM subjects previously, you can log in using your username and password. If you don't have a password or you can't recall it, you can follow the prompts to create or reset it. If you have no account, you can create your own account. However, you should expect that you will be sent an email inviting you to log in, and you should be able to set up your account this way. So to go into Turnitin, you should click on the login or the create account link, depending on whether you've received that contact or not. You should receive an email from your lecturer, as we said, to your email address, the one that you've supplied to AAPOLY when you are enrolled in a subject, as you can see with this sample email on the left side here. When you click on the create your password link, you'll go to the web page on your right and you would create your password. If you have accessed Turnitin previously, you won't need to create the password, as we stated. So once you have successfully set up a password, you should receive an email to your selected email address that looks like the one below, and you can click on the link to start using Turnitin. There's also significant amount of information to help you to navigate through Turnitin, although it is fairly intuitive, and so you don't necessarily need to do a lot of work or research to find out how to use it. However, there is some material available. Once you've logged in, you will see a page that looks something like this. You can see the class ID, which is a number allocated by Turnitin for the subject, and if you wish to access the assignments to upload, you just click on the class name and that will take you through to the assignments. If you need to enroll in a subject that's not listed, you need to click on the second option from the left and enter the class ID and password supplied by your lecturer. Once you've clicked on your class, you will then see the assignments for that subject so that you can submit your work. For each assignment, there will be two drop boxes, a draft drop box and a final drop box. The draft version of the drop box is there for you to submit your work prior to submission for assessment. In there, you will get a report that shows you how your assignment has scored in terms of similarity, so that you can modify it if required before you submit. When you click on submit, you will open a dialog box for you to upload your assignment. You can upload directly or from Dropbox or Google Drive as well. You need to put in a submission title. Once you've submitted your assignment, after a few minutes, probably 3 or 4, you will get a similarity report back, and that similarity report will tell you what proportion of matches Turnitin has identified. So when Turnitin checks a piece of work, it generates a similarity report. The matches within the paper itself will be highlighted in different colors, as you can see in this example here. It's important to realize that just because a match is found, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's a problem. Your assignment needs to be your own original thought or ideas that have been properly referenced. And for BTHM subjects, we require APA referencing as the method that you use. If you need to know more about that, you can get assistance from the library, or also you can get assistance from your lecturer. So here's a couple of examples. The point of this is just showing that you mention the author of the publication that you've taken the information from, and that author then is listed in your reference list. So you should remember that even if you paraphrase or summarize other people's work, you should still acknowledge the source of those ideas through your referencing. It's not only for situations where you've cut and pasted information. So students often ask how much similarity is actually acceptable. Technically speaking, you should be aiming for zero similarity. That is, that there should be no piece of material that you've taken from any other source that you haven't properly referenced. And so even though there may be some similarity, you should be saying where all of the sources of your work have come from. You may have some similarity because you've included a BTHM cover sheet, or you have correctly included references in your reference list, and if that's the case, this is acceptable. You can also end up with a few small word matches, and that could be just a coincidence. So small matches are considered acceptable. You shouldn't cut and paste work from others with the intention of changing it afterwards. You're better off paraphrasing and summarizing the ideas you read instead. However, I think it's not an unusual thing for students to cut and paste work that they intend to use in their assignment. If you do that, cut and paste, then one way to make sure that you don't inadvertently leave material from other sources in your assignment is to color it, so to put a highlight over it, so that you know that this material is not yours until you have modified it adequately and included the reference as well. You could either highlight or you could change the font if you prefer to do it that way. Some other things to watch for: if you are repeating a subject, you must realize that you need to do the subject in its entirety the second time around. So that means you must prepare a new and original piece of work. If you don't, then you are committing self-plagiarism, and this is also a form of plagiarism. If you have difficulties with writing in English, it's okay to have someone help you to improve your language, but that doesn't mean that you should allow someone to write your assignment for you. When someone identifies some areas of improvement, you should make those changes suggested yourself rather than let someone rewrite your work or to accept changes that have been put into, say, a Word document. You should not pay other people to write your work. This is called contract cheating, and it carries heavy penalties. And do not give other people your work, even if you've completed a subject. It's okay to discuss your work with them or to give them some ideas on how you approached your work. However, if you do give other people your work, that's considered to be collusion, and it's subject to penalty as well. As well as students, some lecturers will be using Turnitin for the first time as we implement Turnitin here. So it's expected that there will be some challenges along the way, and we hope that things go as smoothly as possible, but we're ready to realize that there will be some difficulties at some point. If you are concerned about your similarity score, you should see your lecturer for guidance to improve your work. And I'm sure that every lecturer will be very happy to assist you. If there are any problems or issues in accessing a subject, you need to contact your lecturer, who can supply the details for you to access. And if you have any difficulties logging in, please see Lenore Comrie in the library. I wish you luck with your studies over this semester and with the use of Turnitin.